Well, welcome back. This is session 6, part 6, and we're getting into the second half of the tribulation. We've talked about the Antichrist and the false prophet. We've talked about the seal judgments and the trumpet judgments. So we're going to get into the vial judgments or the bowl judgments, depending on which version you're reading. And in Revelation chapter 15, verse 5 through 8 says, "And after these things I looked, and behold, the temple of the tabernacle of the testimony in heaven was opened, and out of the temple came the 7 angels, having the 7 plagues, clothed in pure bright linen, and having their chests girded with golden bands. Then one, where are we at here? My thing just jumped again. Here we go. And then one of the 4 living creatures gave to the 7 angels 7 golden bowls full of the wrath of God, who lives forever and ever. The temple was filled with smoke from the glory of God and from his power, and no one was able to enter the temple till the 7 plagues of the 7 angels were completed." So we see that these came from the throne, and they're full of the wrath of God. So we're going to look at them being poured out on the earth. Revelation 16:2. "So the first went and poured out his bowl upon the earth, and a foul and loathsome sore came upon the men who had the mark of the beast and those who worshiped his image." So sores are going to appear on men that have the mark of the beast. Okay. So, Revelation 16:3. "Then the second angel poured out his bowl on the earth, and it became blood as of a dead man, and every living creature in the sea died." He poured out his bowl on the sea, and all of the water became like blood. And every living, think about that, every living creature in the sea died. Wow. Revelation 16:4. "Then the third angel poured out his bowl on the rivers and springs of water, and they became blood." Now the rivers and the springs of water become blood. Wow, what an awful plague, awful. Revelation 16:8 through 9 says, "Then the 4th angel poured out his bowl on the sun, and power was given to him to scorch men with fire. And men were scorched with great heat, and they blasphemed the name of God, who has power over these plagues, and they did not repent and give him glory." So the vials poured out upon the sun. What does that mean? It means that the sun's going to get hotter and hotter. It's going to scorch men. Does that mean that the ozone layer is going to go away? I don't know. Don't know exactly how that's going to take place, but we know it will, and it's going to be a horrible, horrible time. But instead of men repenting, they're going to blaspheme God even more. Unbelievable. Revelation 16:10 through 11. Then the 5th angel poured out his bowl on the throne of the beast, and his kingdom became full of darkness, and they gnawed their tongues because of the pain. They blasphemed the God of heaven because of their pains and their sores, and did not repent of their deeds. Again, now darkness. Now this ain't going to be just any darkness. It's going to be on the kingdom of the Antichrist. What is that darkness? Is it going to cover the whole earth? I don't believe so. I believe it's just the kingdom, wherever he's setting up his throne. So is that going to be over Jerusalem? Quite possibly. Could be wherever he's setting up his throne. But over his kingdom, there's going to be darkness. And it's not going to just be a physical darkness. It's going to be darkness so great that it's going to cause pain in the bodies of men. Unbelievable. And instead of repenting, they're going to blaspheme God even more. Revelation 16:12. "Then the 6th angel poured out his bowl on the great river Euphrates, and its water was dried up, so that the way of the kings from the east might be prepared." So the Euphrates River is going to dry up, and it's going to make a way for the kings of the east, it says, which I believe is going to be China and those that are with them, to come into the land of Israel, into where the place is called the Valley of Megiddo in Israel, northern Israel. There's a great big valley, and I believe there's going to be a war there. We're going to see that here shortly. But it's going to prepare the way for all of the instruments of war and the people to come through on dry ground, past the Euphrates River, and into that valley. Now, Revelation 16:17 through 21. Then the seventh angel poured out his bowl into the air, and a loud voice came out of the temple of heaven from the throne, saying, "It is done." And there were noises and thunderings and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such a mighty and great earthquake as has not occurred since men were on the earth. Now the great city was divided into three parts, and the cities of the nations fell. Great Babylon was remembered before God to give her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. And then every island fled away, and the mountains were not found, and great hail from heaven fell upon men, each hailstone about the weight of a talent. Men blasphemed God because of the great plague of hail, since that plague was exceedingly great. Man, this is going to be some tremendous earthquake that's never happened before, and great big hailstones, hundreds of pounds each, falling on men, on the earth. In fact, it says islands will be fled away. I mean, I believe the landscape of the earth will be changed during this earthquake. The earth won't look the same after this earthquake. It's going to be unbelievable. This is what's going to be the seventh vial being poured out. And it's all getting prepared for the return of Jesus. It's all getting prepared for the battle of what we call Battle of Armageddon, which will happen in the Valley of Megiddo. So we see that the vials were poured out, and we're at the end of the 3.5 years, or the 7-year period, tribulation period, the second 3.5 years. We're here at the end, and we're going to talk about in the next video the Battle of Armageddon and the return of Jesus. And man, I'm excited about getting into it. So I will see you in the next video.